This is that wet, heavy snow, which can often be referred to as heart attack snow. But what separates it from the light, fluffy snow that we see in January? It's all about the amount of water the snow holds. Now, in using imperial measurements, 30 inches is about that high. But when that 30 inches of snow melts, it leaves about an inch of water. However, with this wet, heavy snow, when it melts, it leaves 5 times that much, so 5 inches of water. Nature Conservancy of Canada says in a study they found that 9 out of 10 Canadians say they feel happier and more creative when they spend time outside. Yet Carrie Hamill, the Director of Conservation for the NCC, says that 3/4 of Canadians find it easier to stay inside. Now, in 1997, where I'm standing right now, was completely underwater. Now, I'm just over 5'7", so just to give you an idea how deep the water was, take a look up here. Now you see that yellow stripe? That marks how high the floodwaters were at its peak in 1997. Wildfires are burning out of control in northern Alberta, and if you look outside, you can see the haze right here in Winnipeg. The fire danger is high in the city as well. In fact, you can just hear how tinder dry the grass really is. The water is just raging down Main Street, and I'm only on the sidewalk, and I can feel the power of this water just rushing over my feet. May is Motorcycle Awareness Month. According to Manitoba Public Insurance, 700 motorcyclists have been injured and 22 have been killed on Manitoba roadways in the last 5 years. The CMMG Motorcycle Rally will be held here at the Legislature at 11 o'clock Saturday morning. In Winnipeg, Rachel CrowSpreadingWings, City News. Do you feel, having experienced that, it's kind of a continuation of the genocide that Indigenous people have gone through?
Yes, absolutely. I would agree with you there. I think the solitary confinement is a continuation of a genocide. It's a construct to continue to disproportionately target us and to traumatize us. 3, that's the number of times this smart, strong, and loyal canine was passed up to be the next furry addition to a family. Now he's being given a high security job right here in the house where the Winnipeg Jets play. Keep checking the bees all summer, and if they keep looking like this, Lloyd said come fall, he's going to be one happy beekeeper. Reporting in Shoto, I'm Rachel CrowSpreadingWings. Back to you. This street right now is not that busy. There are a few cars coming through, but over the weekend we had reports of about 500 cars coming through between about 5 o'clock and 9 p.m. So that left many of these residents on this street unable to leave their house or return to their home. And because it is a residential area, you're not saying don't come, you're saying please come, we do enjoy it, but what do you want people to know before they get down here? Now this intersection of Highway 210 and Provincial Highway 12 is where Brianna almost lost her life. CTV's Joey Slatterly joins us now. And Joey, it's been quite a day for the Jets, and they still have a game to play tonight. Yeah. Listen, you know, I think that would have been really fun today. Oh, yeah. I went for a run this morning, and I didn't even think about the color run that was going on, so I'm sorry. Christmas is less than 1 month away. With more Manitobans staying home for the holidays, demand has shot up for real Christmas trees. CTV's Taria Isri has more on the push to keep up. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rachel CrowSpreadingWings in for Renee. As more and more COVID-19 cases are announced each day in Manitoba, children continue to go to school. Tonight, some parents whose children were in close contact with a case from school are wondering why it took so long for them to be notified. And the owner of a company that has the bus contract for a northwestern Montana school district faces charges for allegedly possessing and selling methamphetamine and smoking it. 5 years ago, Malmstrom Air Force Base was rocked with scandal involving missile launch officers cheating on tests. The 9 people involved and the commander at the time were fired by the Air Force. And that brings us to our first check at weather. It's currently -3 with a wind chill of -13, so if you are heading out trick-or-treating, be sure
sure to bundle up. Winds are gusting between 50 and almost 80 kilometers an hour from the northwest. And taking a look at tonight, we're going to see a low of -9, partially cloudy. Those winds are hanging on. Looking into tomorrow morning, we're going to see a high of +2, mainly sunny skies, and the winds coming from the northeast gusting at 20 kilometers.
This beautiful river gets its start in South Dakota and flows north right through our city. But underneath its muddy waters, it holds many secrets. Numerous bodies have been pulled from the river or been found along the banks. Just like Tina Fontaine, a young teenage girl who will be forever remembered for her death, not her life. Volunteers from organizations like Mama Bear Clan are joining community members to learn more about how they can help safely look for human remains. Drag the Red started in 2014, the year that Tina Fontaine's body was found.
It's a very emotional job that we're doing, but we're doing it because we care about the community. And we want this to stop, and this is a proactive way in preventing, people from putting bodies into the river.
Dr. Emily Holland from the University of Brandon led the workshop and taught volunteers what to look out for.
One of the hardest things is the idea that people think that bone is like this nice, clear, clean object that's easy to pick out in the woods or on a riverbank, and that is completely untrue. It can look like wood can look like bone, they can masquerade as lots of different things.
If volunteers do find something, they're asked to actually take a picture of it, not to move it, and to send it to Dr. Holland, who will then decide if they're human remains or not.
You feel good about doing the work you're doing because you're helping the community.
We do know that we're looking for a missing person or an individual that has, in most cases, died a traumatic death. And that is an emotional component. And even for me, it's still something I acknowledge and deal with.
Winds are gusting, and as of today, the National Weather Service tells us that 78 inches of snow have fallen in the month of February alone. Now, take a look at this map. Earlier today, there was no way in or out of Browning, and all the roads were closed by the Montana Department of Transportation. They're slowly starting to open, which literally is paving the way for help.
Here's going through by Livermore.
It seems to be a never-ending battle. If snow's not falling, it's blowing and creating more than just a headache for those trying to get help.
And if you're plowing that day, then you're plowing again the next day. It's just over and over and over. It becomes a very extreme hardship on some of our rural residences.
It's been 16 days since the beginning of the storm. Last week, as we reported, tribal members are working together to make sure people are getting help. And with no end in sight, DeRocher says it's now a waiting game.
We have an army of snow plows and snow blowers and backhoe tractors and loaders. And, those guys have been working in some cases around the clock. My hat's off to them. They're doing an excellent job. But, however, there's nothing we can do about the wind and the snow.
DeRocher hopes the community understands they are doing the best they can.
The Blackfeet Nation doesn't provide plow service just to be plowing the streets. The first day of the storm, we had over 65 calls. Second day of the storm, we had 90 calls. But most of the calls we have to prioritize, and we are trying to service the ones that are emergencies. We have some snow drifts that are 20 foot deep. We have piles of snow on top of piles of snow with no place for them to go. We're just covered up this winter, but we're maintaining pretty well.
Right now, the best thing people can do is look after each other, especially the elderly and those with medical conditions. Over in the Bab area, some have been able to get out, but are currently snowed back out of Bab and stuck in Browning. As the storms continue to rage across the Rockies, many are left wondering what will happen when the snow melts, and will they be stranded due to flooding? But only time will tell Mother Nature's plans. Reporting in the newsroom, I'm Rachel CrowSpreadingWings, Montana Right Now. As the Winnipeg Jets face off against the Calgary Flames inside Bell MTS Place Thursday night, outside, another group took on a different fight. Protesters at the event, dubbed the Puck Drop Freedom Rally, say if the Jets can play hockey and earn a living, then so should small businesses.
Who supports small business? And that's what this is about. It's about the Jets can play, we can play. They're at work, let us go to work.
Winnipeg police were on the scene but weren't seen interacting with the crowd of about 20 people. The majority of demonstrators could be seen not social distancing, and only a handful wore masks. One demonstrator, Patrick Allard, says the lockdown doesn't make sense if big brand stores remain open while small businesses must close.
Yeah, so you're saying the lockdown is because of the pandemic. But we're not locked down. The Winnipeg Jets aren't locked down. Walmart's not locked down. Canadian Tire's not locked down. Costco's not locked down. But hairdressers, tattoo parlors, most of them, estheticians, all small businesses are closed.
When I asked the province for a statement regarding the rally tonight, they said there will be an enforcement presence at large public rallies or gatherings we have knowledge of. People in violation will be subject to fines, and we encourage Manitobans to refrain from taking part in these types of events. Any tickets would be reflected in Tuesday's enforcement bulletin. Allard says even with public health orders, the lockdown has not been justified in a court of law.
Do not pay these tickets. They are illegal.
Allard tells CTV he was handed a ticket for nearly $1,300 after the rally for failing to comply with the public health order. A ticket he says he plans to fight. Rachel CrowSpreadingWings, CTV News, Winnipeg.